Today, we're going to dive into a
Entertainment.
process that's part meticulous science and, part pure intuition. We're going to follow the entire journey of the cannabis plant, starting from just a single seed and taking it all the way to a sensational harvest. It's this fascinating blend of biology and straight-up artistry. And this quote from cultivator Steven, it just nails our theme perfectly. I mean, you can have all the best tech, all the knowledge in the world, but the really great growers, they have an intuition, a real feel for the plant. So we're gonna look at both sides, the technical stuff you need to know and the artistry that leads to those, amazing results. So here's our game plan. We'll start with the essential gear, then we'll follow the plant's life, step by step, from sprouting to growing to flowering, and finally, the harvest. Every single stage is critical, so let's jump right in with the toolkit. Okay, before we even think about planting a seed, we've got to have the right tools. Getting a solid setup from the get-go means you can spend less time fixing problems and more time focusing on what really matters, the health of your plants. This list right here, this is the bare minimum. You've got your fabric pots, which are awesome for helping the roots breathe, the nutrients, that's the plant's food, fans for that crucial airflow to keep mold away, and meters to keep an eye on the environment. But listen, if you're going to invest in one thing, make it the grow light. It's the engine that drives everything. So how much light do you actually need? Well, for modern LEDs, a fantastic rule of thumb is about 30 watts of actual power draw from the wall for every square foot of your grow space. This gives the plants all the energy they need to create those dense, beautiful flowers. All right, toolkit is ready. Time to get our hands dirty. The whole journey kicks off with one tiny seed and the very first major decision a grower has to make. What kind of genetics are we working with? So you basically have two main options here. Autoflowers are a bit simpler. They start to flower automatically based on their age, which is great if you're just starting out. Photoperiods, on the other hand, give you way more control. You get to decide when they flower, just by changing the light schedule. This lets you grow a bigger plant and even take clones. For a really nice balance of control and simplicity, feminized photoperiods are a fantastic way to go. Now, getting your seed to sprout doesn't have to be complicated at all. A super simple and effective way is to just drop your seed in some room temperature water, add a few drops of hydrogen peroxide to keep it clean, and then just keep it warm and dark. In a day or two, you should see a little white taproot pop out. That's your cue, time to gently plant it root down. So once your little seedling pokes up through the soil, it enters the vegetative stage, or veg for short. Think of this phase as building the factory. It's all about creating a strong frame of stems and leaves that's going to support the weight of all those flowers later on. Now, to keep a photoperiod plant in this growth phase, we have to kind of trick it into thinking it's the middle of summer, right? And we do that with an 18 hours on, 6 hours off light cycle. These long days tell the plant, hey, focus all your energy on making more leaves and branches, not flowers, not yet. And just like us, the plant's diet changes depending on its stage of life. During veg, it is hungry for nitrogen. That's the N you see on nutrient bottles to build up all those stems and leaves. But when we switch to flowering, the focus shifts to phosphorus, or P, which is absolutely essential for developing big, dense buds. Okay, LST. This is a classic technique that will seriously boost your yields. By gently training your branches to grow outwards instead of just straight up, you create this flat, even canopy. What does that mean? It means no more small, shaded out lower buds. Every part of the plant gets a piece of that precious light. And this brings us right back to the art of it all. See, the science gives us the rules, light cycles, nutrients, but the art is in the daily observation. It's about paying close attention, really seeing how the plants are responding to your care, and catching any little issues before they become big problems. So after weeks and weeks of building that strong foundation, it is time. Time to flip the switch and kick off the main event. This is the moment we have been working towards, the flowering stage. This is the trigger right here. By switching your light timer to an even 12 hours on, 12 hours off, we're basically mimicking the shorter days of late summer. This is the signal that tells the plant, hey, your growing season is ending, you need to start making flowers now. And that 12 hours of darkness has to be completely uninterrupted. Even a little bit of light can confuse the plant. Now, as those flowers start to develop, they're going to get covered in these frosty little crystals. Those are trichomes. They are tiny little factories for cannabinoids and terpenes, and they are the single most important sign of when your plant is ready to harvest. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's what every grower wants to know. If you harvest too early, you lose out on potency. If you harvest too late, the whole profile can change. So, how do you nail that perfect window? Well, the answer is in their color, but you're gonna need a small magnifier to see it. When the trichomes look clear, like glass, it's too early. When they turn cloudy or milky, boom, you've hit peak potency. If you wait until they start turning amber, the effect often becomes more sleepy or sedative. That cloudy window, that's the sweet spot. Once you've spotted that perfect harvest window, it's time for the final phase. But don't rush this part. Seriously, the way you harvest, dry, and cure your plants is just as important as the grow itself, if you want a high-quality final product. So a really common practice before you harvest is called flushing. This basically means for the last week or two, you give the plant nothing but plain pH-balanced water. The idea is to get the plant to use up any nutrients it has stored up, which a lot of growers believe results in a much cleaner, smoother final product. The last few steps are pretty methodical. First, you harvest the plant and hang it to dry, nice and slow, in a dark, controlled room to preserve all those good smells. After it's dry, you trim off the extra leaves, and then you cure the buds in airtight jars. And I'm telling you, this final curing step is absolutely vital for developing the best aroma and flavor. So you gotta be patient. I love this quote from the legend Jorge Cervantes. It just gives you such powerful perspective. He reminds us that for decades, the biggest challenge for growers wasn't nutrients or trichome color. It was just not getting caught. It really puts into perspective how far this craft has come, moving out of the shadows and into the light. And this kind of brings us full circle, doesn't it? Beyond all the tech and all the science, Jorge Cervantes hits on this really simple truth. There is this fundamental human joy in just connecting with nature and nurturing a plant from a tiny little seed into something truly beautiful. So that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We have incredible technology to help us grow. Amazing LEDs, advanced nutrients, precise controllers. But as we've talked about, there's also an intuition, a passion, an undeniable art to it all. So maybe, just maybe, the most essential tool isn't something you can buy, it's something you feel. Thanks for coming along on this journey with us.